What's up, guys? It's my birthday. And because it's my birthday... Do you guys remember that video?
Everyone, today is also my birthday. And because it's my birthday, I get to introduce you to my girlfriend, who is amazing.
So I asked you guys in a community poll what we should do for my birthday video. And there are a few different options, and you guys landed on the top 5 most overrated games, in my opinion. Now, there's some other options in there. We are going to use that poll as a kind of guiding light to what we will prioritize in upcoming months. Nobody voted for Choo Choo Charles. I'm pretty sad about that. It's actually a really fun game. I can't wait to do a review on it, but we're going to put that on the back burner for now. Maybe we'll release that out around like Halloween, maybe the anniversary of the channel, which is coming up next month. So I might override your vote. So let's get right into it, and let's be very clear. These are my opinions. You're going to see a lot of games you love on here, and I love them too, but I think the hype, and I honestly think the opinion of them is a little overrated. Now, we are going to start with an honorable mention, and that is annual sports game releases. Whether it's Madden, NBA, MLB, NHL, FIFA, anything that's released annually from a sports perspective especially, it's not a great look, because what's happening with most of those games is they are doing roster updates and very minute tweaks, if any. It doesn't warrant a $60 or nowadays case $70 price tag every single year. If they took more time in between releasing those games, and they took 2, maybe even 3 years, and then did patches and updates and maybe some DLC in between the actual base game releases, then I think we would see better games be released over time, and I think we as consumers would feel better about it. But we as consumers are also spending $60, $70 every year to get the newest form of Madden, when it's not really all that special, except for maybe every 3 to 5 years. And I guess you could say that about like Call of Duties and Battlefields and all those other games that have annual releases, but I do feel like it's a little bit different, because with sports game releases, you're going to see more of just like roster updates, and it's going to be minute changes, whereas with Call of Duty, even though I think it's incredibly overrated, it's a different style of game. It's just a different game at its core, so it's not the same thing. But let's get into number 5, and number 5 is going to shock you guys. It's actually from my favorite series of all time. It's a really good game, but again, this is most overrated. These aren't bad games by any means. Actually, I don't know if any of these games are bad games, except maybe one, in my opinion. You guys are you're gonna burn me at the stake for it, but it's Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I know, you can come at me, you can say I'm crazy, I'm stupid, I'm lost my damn mind. This game is the greatest game that was ever created. But as somebody who loves Breath of the Wild, I've really reflected on this game in the last, 9 months since it came out, and I think that it's just a lot of the same. Now, I don't think it's a DLC. I do think that there's a lot of really cool new things that they added to the game, but the complaints about Breath of the Wild being an empty world really became apparent in this game, and I think some of the things you have to do with farming for rupees and a lot of the vehicle builds and all that kind of stuff, it just didn't work for me, and I thought that it really slowed the progression of the game. The nice thing about Breath of the Wild is it had more of an organic flow, whereas Tears of the Kingdom just didn't have that for me. Still a really good game, but I don't think it's, number 1, definitely not the greatest Zelda game of all time. Number 2, not the greatest game of all time. And number 3, to me, personally, not even the greatest game that came out in 2023. So while I really respect Tears of the Kingdom, and I love Zelda with all my heart, you can see I'm a huge Zelda fan, it's not for me. So this is number 5 most overrated games of all time for me. All right, you guys are going to be mad. But number 4 is Resident Evil 4. I told you you were going to be mad at me. I told you.
You're an idiot!
So why don't I think this game is good? Well, actually, I do think it's good. I actually think it's a pretty good game. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's God's gift to video games. What I do think it is it's a solid game that probably did a lot for video games at the time it came out, but also there's a lot of things about the game that just are frustrating and don't work for me. Number 1, the tank controls still being an element of the gameplay in this game is an issue. And I think it's a huge upgrade what they did in the remake by removing that and being able to kind of do that run and gun element. Also, this game, and probably my biggest beef with this game, is people act like it's so unique and it's so innovative. But you know what? It also shows a lot of weaknesses in the armor, if you will, because it just relies on wave after wave of the same boring enemies to pad the runtime. And if it was using interesting story elements, which it does at times, to make the game longer, that's fine. But I swear, I don't remember those interesting elements as much as I remember being on a bridge, confronted with 20 of the priests, and all running at me, and me having to mow them down with 90% of my machine gun ammo. So is it a bad game? No. Is it a great game? In my opinion, no. If you like Resident Evil 4, great. I think 2, 7, and 8 are better, in my opinion. And I'm talking about even over the remake. I just like those games more. This is ironically number 4 on this list, number 4 on my Resident Evil games ranks list. It's too overrated for me. All I hear all the time, best game ever. Nothing stands up to it. Nothing even comes close. Sorry, this game not as good as you think it is, in my opinion. Are you mad yet? I can sense it coming through the phone. Oh! If you weren't mad before, I forgot I put this on this list for a second. You're gonna be pissed at me now. Okay, all right. I let everybody breathe. This is like the last, like, to me, like, that's big, like, controversial one. The last two are probably like personal. I have beef, and I know on number 1, like, even though it's not niche, but like it's not as big as these other games, I'm still gonna get crucified for it. But this one, man, I can just feel it already. You guys are probably pissed that I'm like building this up, but you got to know, I don't think these games are bad. I don't. It's just I think they're just overrated. And number 3 is a great example of that. It's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Now, hold on. Just don't click away yet. Just listen to me. Just listen.
Listen to me, listen.
It's for me. I think the opening hour, 2 hours of this game do a really good job of setting a great tone and a great pace that really just kind of leave for a while in the game. And that's where I get frustrated, is when the pacing of a game really takes a dive after the initial outset of the game. That was honestly the biggest reason why I had such a hard time getting into Tears of the Kingdom, because the Sky Islands were so fun and they were so unique and it was innovative. And then I got to the ground, and then it was just kind of same old, and very empty and barren and very directionless. Red Dead 2 feels that way for me, and maybe it's me. Maybe it's a game that I need to give another chance. I have it on my Steam Deck, so probably easier to play. Also, it's so vast and it's got so much going on that I feel like it's one of those things you have to dive into and you have to stay in. And I like to play games in shorter spurts. I don't feel like you can do that with Red Dead 2 very easily. I think it's a great game. I think it's incredibly overrated. I think a lot of what Rockstar does is incredibly overrated. It was really between this and GTA 5 for me, and I worked at GameStop when GTA 5 came out. I remember all the hype. I remember all the buzz. It sold $1 billion, first game to sell like $1 billion in 3 days. Massive, big deal, right? But I feel like there's also a lot of inefficiencies or a lot of issues with these games that just kind of get like thrown under the rug because there's so many good things about it that we're just going to deny the things that are wrong. And so for me, Red Dead 2 has just been hard with the pacing, and it's been hard to like stay with because I don't feel like the magic of those initial couple hours continues for me beyond those couple of hours. All that being said, I'll probably try to give it another shot here in the next couple years, but for me right now, the gamer I am in 2024, here at 35 years old, it's number 3 because of all those reasons, and hopefully I could be proven wrong because I really want to give this game a shot. I really want to love this game, and I just can't. Okay. You still here? So these last two entries, I don't even have games for them. Apparently, I have. I thought I did. I really thought I did, but I don't, and that's kind of funny to me because you would think I played these games, I beat these games. Why don't I have them? And I think it's because I sold them because I was like, let's just get the most money for them that we can. So, entry number 2 for me is actually a series of games, and I wouldn't even call it a series. It's a couple of games that just happen to be the same like series. And it's the Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West games. Now, listen, are they graphically beautiful? Yes, they are very beautiful. But they don't do anything new or different or very interesting, and I I lost a lot of interest with that game, like especially Forbidden West, like about an hour in. It had the Red Dead 2 effect for me, and I really feel like that game started off, it didn't even start off strong. It started off just kind of like at a gradual pace, and then you had a big boss fight, and then everything kind of fell off. And for Zero Dawn, I love open world games that like give you a reason to go do the side quests, like really give you incentivization to do it. And I never felt that with Zero Dawn. I had to restart that game 3 separate times because the first hour where you're a kid and you're training for the trials, and then you do the trials, and like that was great. And then after that, again, nosedive in the pacing. And maybe this is what it is. Maybe it's the games to me that have a hard time with the pacing, and as such, I think they're overrated because everybody else enjoys them so much. But I just couldn't see how I was incentivized to do these side quests. And honestly, like I just started trying to sling through the main story missions just to get it done because it felt like such a drag, and it was so rinse and repeat. Like, one series I almost threw on here, guys. I was so close to throwing this series on here, but I don't think it was fair in terms of the scope of the series, and I also don't think it was, there was a singular game that I could identify in the series, was the Assassin's Creed series. And you could point to the first Assassin's Creed game, which is very heralded, and, like, I do enjoy the first game, but 2 Brotherhood are, like, my top 2, and Black Flag. But in the first game, it was really, like, eavesdrop, blend in, assassinate, right? Like, pick up some intel, do the mission, and then a collectathon. And I don't know, like, without the collectathon aspect, no, even with the collectathon aspect, like, that was Horizon to me. Like, it felt very, rinse, wash, dry, repeat. Like, it felt very just formulaic, and especially coming off of Breath of the Wild a couple years earlier for Zero Dawn, it didn't feel like it added anything new or interesting to the open world concept outside of like robot dinosaurs, which was cool but lost its luster very quickly. And I hear a lot of people say like they love the Horizon games. They're some of the best games I've ever played. It's not even the best, to me, game that I've ever played with Ashley Birch as a voice actor. So I respect what they did with it, respect the effort, I respect the vision, but I think it's incredibly overrated. And having actually played those full games, I can confidently say that I don't think it is worthy of the praise and acclaim that it gets. Before we give you number 1, remember to smash that like button. God, that felt weird to say. That felt disgusting. Maybe punch that like button? I don't know. Do something to the like button. Just make sure it's legal. Make sure you comment down below how much you disagree with me. Make sure you tell me how wrong I am. Make sure you give me the reasons on why you think my opinions are wrong. I would love to hear the other side of the argument. That's what this channel is all about. It's about dialogue. It's about having a conversation, building a community around video games, our love of them, our hate of them, and everywhere in between. And that's why I want to do this video, because I think it's important for us to talk about the things we love about games and the things that frustrate us, because it's an art. It's a medium. We all appreciate it and have a special place for our hearts. So throw that in the comments. Let me know your most overrated games in your opinion. Come at me. Pick some of my favorite games. I'll tell you right up like what they are. Mass Effect, Legend of Zelda, the Batman Arkham series, Last of Us 1 and 2. Yeah, come at me. Those are some of my favorite games. I would love to hear the reasons that I'm wrong, that they're so good. All right. Number 1. I really do think, I think you guys are gonna be mad, and that's okay. Because I'm not gonna pull punches on this one. Number 1, to me, most overrated game, I don't like it. I like it. But like at a very minimal level of like, this is a game that I played and it was 3 hours of my life that I didn't particularly love. It's Shadow of the Colossus.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Shadow of the Colossus, to me, is a great concept that was turned into a full-blown game. It is a game that is very confusing, and a game that it presents itself to be very smart. And I think that people who like it are seeing something that I'm not seeing, because I've played the game a couple times all the way through. I think that the story of it is basic. It's incredibly basic. There's no depth to it. It's very abstract in a lot of ways. I think that the concept of making the monster a level, right, is really cool. But it loses its luster pretty early on. And the other issue I have with it is like navigating, getting to the monsters, and like you hold your sword up and it directs you with the light. But even then, it's like sometimes not telling you the right direction. Or it is, but it's telling you to go a direction and you have to like find your way around things. And it's, some of the areas are difficult to navigate around. And it's just not the most well-constructed game. Again, I don't think it's, I don't think it's trash. I don't think it's dog water. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever played. That would be Lord of the Rings Gollum or Ride to Hell Retribution. What I do think is that the Metacritic score is ridiculous. It's a 91. A 91. I don't know, man. I don't understand where that score comes from. I think at the time it was probably so unique that people felt like they had to say it was good. And what's been really nice over the last few years is I went from hearing like every single person, every single reviewer, every single channel, every single gamer and publication say, this game is one of the best games of all time, full stop. To now, having some people say, if you haven't played it, don't play it because it's not good. And look, I'm not going to tell you not to play it. If you want to go play Shadow of the Colossus, go play it, because at the end of the day, as a gamer, I respect every gaming position that people have until you tell me that you think that Fortnite is the end-all be-all for video games. Again, not a bad game, just not a good game. So, go play Shadow of the Colossus. Go tell me I'm wrong. But I really feel like if you play it and you look at it through the lens of, is this a game that is nothing more than one singular idea blown up into a full game, you'll probably start to see that there isn't a whole lot to it. And it kind of goes back to this, right? Like, I want to love this, but I can't. And it's the same thing with Shadow of the Colossus. I wanted to go into the first time playing Shadow of the Colossus, like, wow, mind blown, right? 10 out of 10, best game I've ever played. And it was mediocre at best. It was very empty. It was very difficult to navigate. And every instance of levels within the game felt like a chore. Like it's just like Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. It was a slug to get through, right? It was very difficult to will myself to finish the game. All that being said, if If you love it, you love it. I'm not going to hate on you. For me, Shadow of the Colossus, my number one most overrated game of all time. Please let me know how wrong I am. Please give me feedback on why I'm wrong and keep it civil. Let's have a civil discourse. No name calling. Like, I respect your opinions on games. I just ask that you respect mine. We're all unique individuals. You probably think it's silly that I have so much Zelda stuff, and that's fine. I don't care. You probably think it's silly I have so much Mario stuff. That's fine. I don't care. But I love video games. I'm sure you do too if you're watching this video. So, like I said earlier, make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment down below your most overrated games. Make sure you comment down below why you think I'm wrong or why you think I'm right. And then make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you very soon.